Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows 2-pack featuring Spider-Man and Spinnerette. And this one's going to be an interesting one because it's not the all-time best ever Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure ever repainted. It is a lot of new stuff going on with this figure. Is it significantly better? Is it the best ever? Is it worse? We're going to get into all of that. I'm sure you guys have seen this a few times by now. We're going to take a deep dive into it and see what we can find. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Now, before we get into anything else, before we do a question of the day, before we do any of this stuff that holds up the review, I want to talk about this. A lot of people have been complaining about these windowless packages, not because they want the windows and stuff, though that's true too. They're complaining because the images on the box don't accurately depict or represent the figures inside. And while these back images are mostly accurate, like this is still problematic, but they generally look correct. They have the right articulation. That kind of thing is all fairly accurate. But one of these looks good. One of these doesn't look anywhere near as good compared to the other. The good one is this right here. You can see much more of a V shape to his torso. His shoulders are bigger and higher. The head shape is better. The printing or painting is better. The coloring is better. Every single thing. I'm not even like fake laughing. I actually am laughing because every single thing about this image right here is leagues better than the figure you get in the package. For Spinnerette, it's about the same, like it's close enough. But this one is laughably different. This is so much better than this. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, we'll start with our height measurement so I don't forget. This guy stands just shy of 6.5 inches. That's going to be roughly 16.5 centimeters. You guys probably have these conversions, rough conversions memorized by now. We're going to do them both all in one go. She stands, not counting a little bit of hair poof, let's say 15.5 centimeters. That's going to be roughly 6.125 inches. I don't know, roughly, like I said, roughly. These are just for general skill purposes so you guys have an idea. So there's the size comparison, and of course we have to compare him against the best Marvel Legends ever, Darwin. Okay, so question of the day. Which color scheme is your favorite for Spider-Man? Here's an example of two different ones. It's going to be hard for you to describe. I guess this one's closer to a navy, this one's closer to like a standard blue. But of course we have light blue, we have the teal blue, we have all kinds of different options, dark red, light red. For me, I'm going to just go standard like 90s cartoon red and blue, though I do have a soft spot for the darker blue right here. Okay, alright, let's talk about the aesthetic. Like I said, it is not just a repaint of this, so we're going to do a quick side-by-side of these two guys, and if this isn't an absolute glaringly obvious thing, then I don't know what to do anymore. Because when this thing came out, I talked about how it was nowhere near as good as it was being hyped up to be. It was kind of a turd. And up against this one, which is not perfect, but is markedly better, in not a lot of time, by the way, it hasn't been that long, it makes this thing look like even a bigger piece of crap. It's so bad. Are people still holding on to this one, claiming it's good after this one came out? Because it's not even a lot of significant changes, and this one on the left of the new one, the Renew Your Vows 2-pack one, is so much better. Do you guys see the difference? This looks like some bubbly alien trying to pretend to be a human, and this looks like Spider-Man mostly. Like, there's still some things I would change, and I'll show you, but holy macaroni, Batman, they're not even close. This super duper best ever thing that never existed is just terrible. It's so bad. You know what? These two are about on par compared to this guy. So yeah, this one, if you didn't notice, looks significantly better. He's way less bubbly, way more superhero shaped. A lot of things have been improved. This guy does feature new arms and legs. That includes shoulders. I believe the butterfly is different. I'm not 100%. I think the torso is the same. I do believe the upper torso is the same because we kept that goofy neck piece. And I believe the lower torso is as well. So all of the hard plastic is the same. I think all of the soft plastic is new, except, you know, maybe the hands got reused. Like, I don't think they're necessarily these hands. but they might be. They look like they might be, actually. They look a little different. Either way, who cares about the hands? So yeah, it's also a new head as far as I can tell, unless they stole it from a different figure. It's certainly not the same head as this one. So yeah, it does look good. Pinless joints all the way around, so if you guys like that, I know a lot of you spider people are going to love that because we don't have the red dots on the insides of the arms, so that's a good thing. So yeah, there's a lot going on here that's really good. But before we talk more about this guy's aesthetic, I want to get this one out of the way because I know very few people are going to care about this compared to the actual hero of the show. But the interesting thing is, they nailed this one. The paint job on her web lines, it's better than almost every single Spider-Man figure we've gotten. It's so much more consistent, though she does have a lot more of just the checkerboard pattern in here. I don't think that's accurate for her design. I think we're supposed to get a lot more of the curvies like you see in the feet, and you see them on the shoulders. But either way, it's really well painted, and the white parts are generally really white. The red parts are red. The white part that's painted in here is clean. I have no real complaint. I think the hair sculpt is nice. Could use a wash. Face paint is fine. Don't see a problem with the sculpt. Overall, the body, it's not like impressive super female body, but it's not bad. I mean, she's not super scrawny, so that's okay. This one looks pretty good. I would rate her aesthetic for Marvel Legends. Again, I have to say this every time. They are still overpriced. This is a $58 2-pack of Marvel Legends, and there's plenty not good enough for that price point. But for Marvel Legends, this is like an 8.5 out of 10. It's really well done. Like, yeah, we could use some shading and some better like accuracy in terms of the web lines being web shaped, but it's really nice. So that one looks really good. Now this guy for Marvel Legends, I'm gonna also say it's an 8.5 out of 10 for the aesthetic. They did a lot of things much better than we normally see. His legs are better shaped, better proportioned. Arms are getting there. They're better still. The shoulders are still too damn small. They're too small and too low. There shouldn't be a gap. I don't mean gap like for articulation. I mean a significant height difference between the end of the traps over here and the start of the shoulder. Where's the box? Why do I always set it so far away? Look at that. Look at that. There's barely any difference. And then look at that. Huge drop off. I'll Photoshop this guy so you can see what I'm talking about, but there's still things that need to change. Surprisingly, the head's much bigger on the new one, but it sits properly, and the shoulders being slightly higher make it work so much better than the little peanut head on top of this goofy neck with tiny shoulders. So proportioning makes a huge difference, and I feel like a lot of people don't notice it, but they know something's wrong. Like, I guess I should say they notice it, but they don't know what it is that's wrong. It's the proportioning. If you change little things like shoulder placement, it changes the way the head looks. It changes the way the torso looks. All of these things matter. One of the big problems I have with this figure is we still have these obliques that somebody at Hasbro is like, I really, really like obliques that stick out past every other part of the body. And it makes the figures look weird, like super weird. And from the front, it takes away from the V shape a lot. It hurts. But it's not terrible because we do have the slightly better shoulder situation, so I'll give them that. As far as the aesthetics go, we're almost done. Big spider logo on the back, I like that. The clean spider logo up here is pretty good. The eyes are pretty well done. Yeah, the head shape, somebody commented saying, or maybe it was a couple people, they said, why does Hasbro always give Spider-Man heads a weird shape? Why are they never shaped properly? I don't know. They've done it. They have made good Spider-Man heads, but mostly they're weird shaped. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, so that's fine. So consistency is also much better across the board on this guy. The reds are almost all the same. We have the PVC and we have the hard plastic and then we have the painted parts. They all blend well enough. I don't know if you're going to see it, but the abdominal section on mine, on each one of the abs, at least in these four right here, these four boxes at the bottom, these two and then these two, there's a dot in the middle that looks like it got tried to get touched up and then it's the wrong color. But otherwise it's pretty clean. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about for the aesthetic is the shoulder connection. That's jacked up big time. Like, you shouldn't be able to see into the articulation just naturally. So that's not good. The shoulder being a lot bigger would solve almost all the problems with the shoulder area. So either way, yeah, this guy does get an 8.5 for Marvel Legends. It, I think, is, if you're not going to count the older ones like the McFarlane Spider-Man or the Sinister Six or Fearsome Foes or any of those, like the true best ones, this is the best one Hasbro's made for sure. This one blows this one and the Pizza Spider-Man out of the water. This looks like it came out of the 80s or 90s after looking at this. I get what they were going for here, but holy crap did they miss the mark. This is so much better. Okay, so we got the aesthetic out of the way. 10 minutes into the review, we have to talk about the accessories. Spinnerette comes with the masked head and unmasked head. She comes with 2 fist hands, 2 whipping hands, and 2 wall crawling hands. Spider-Man comes with, obviously, the masked head and unmasked head. 2 fist hands, 2 whipping hands, and 2 wall crawling hands. That's a good enough spread. I would like to see some webbing of some sort, or a flight stand, or something. If they're going to hike the price, they better start throwing in those add-ins that don't cost them much, but add a little bit of extra value to us. Accessory-wise, I'll go 8 out of 10 just because we have heads and hands, but it's still getting there. Okay, let's run through her articulation really quickly. We have the hinge and the ball peg. There's a little bit of lollipop going on, but it's not drastic. I think it's okay. The hinge work is... the hinge is still not ideal. It'll work, and for photography, once you have it at the angle you want it at, it's going to be fine. But a double ball peg properly done will give you much more nuance, much more subtlety, and you won't have a broken neck every time the figure looks down. But this will work. It'll work. It gets a little bit of lean, of course, and it has its rotation. Shoulder joint goes better than horizontal. That is good. You get your full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow, pinless joints on this one. That's very nice. And it's like they could have been doing double jointed elbows on the females all along. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Diaphragm on this figure is not bad. It leans back pretty far. I like that. Leans forward a little bit, not as far as I would like. I would sacrifice a little bit of a gap here to have more range going forward, just because there's no range going forward to speak of, nothing useful. Side to side is really solid, and of course you get your rotation, so that's fine. Just need a little bit more range going forward. There's also some clever ways they could get around that if they wanted to do like a curved peg, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it can work in some cases. This might be one of them. Going out to the side, the hips, only a little better than 45. That's disappointing. Definitely would prefer better range, and there's no reason there's not better range. Just place that ball peg where it belongs in the hip, and you can go straight splits all day long, no problem. There's clearly no clearance issue. This is basically a sphere right here. All they need to do is place that joint properly, and that won't click. And also they need to cut out a little bit more right there. That actually looks like it's a bigger part of the problem. Yeah, right now for this figure it's not even bumping. It's that they have too much plastic up here. You see how they have the webbing going all the way over? Just cut out more of that and you'll have better range. That'd be way better. Going forward, yeah, kicks high. That's good. Like that. No problems. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee. No problem at all. These pinless joints aren't stuck. Almost every other figure I've had that had the pinless joints, the joints get stuck. This is a floating piece, so the foot goes all the way back and all the way forward, and it has a solid ankle rocker. This is one of the better female Marvel Legends they've released in a long time. I'll give the articulation on this one. Hips are still a little iffy. Everything else is solid. I'll give it an 8. For Marvel Legends, this is a good improvement for the articulation. We've seen some that have been pretty booty. Okay, for Spooter Guy right here, let's see how he's doing. I'm willing to bet it's mostly the same as before, but we'll see. We have new parts, so it might be good. This weird-ass neck that's definitely an abomination. Let's see how it works. It still has minimal range. Like, it doesn't even look up well. It does. You can see that it works, but only because this is a bigger head and it hides the giant gap. You could do so much better with either of the other joints, a double ball peg that's not whatever this is, or just a joint like this one. So much better, but it does look up. It looks down well enough, and then we get that weird gapping that you definitely don't want. Ugh. Leaning side to side is basically non-existent. There's a little bit, but because of the horrible way they did that double ball peg, it's still horrible. And then, of course, you get your rotation, so that's fine. Butterfly joint on this guy, does it work? Goes forward a little bit, goes back a little bit. Like, that's fine. It's not bad. It's not terrible to look at either, but it's not a lot, and we've seen way better. Like, even the McFarlane Spider-Man 35 years ago. I don't know when it came out. 20 years ago? No, it would have been like 10 or 15. That was way better than this one. And they've even done ones that were better than this one. So this one's okay. Somebody asked me to do it like this so I could show you more clearly how much range there is. So that's the arm, like in a neutral, and with the butterfly joint, you get that. If you go higher up to where it's carved out more, you can get a little bit more if you're really trying to do that, which is fine for Spider-Man, like a swinging pose. But if you're just going neutral, arm across the chest, it's pretty minimal. You're not going to get a ton of range there. And then going back, I can't really do that because arms don't work that way. So that's fine. It's okay. Shoulder joint, Slightly better than horizontal, that is fine. Full rotation, of course, bicep swivel is okay. I hate that you can see the peg. That is bush league, as they would say. You should not be able to see your peg. Nobody wants to see your peg, Spider-Man. Alright, so elbows, let's see, do they work well? Pan back just a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that. That's a perfectly acceptable range. That's exactly the way it should work. That's good. No problems there. Wrist joint has, of course, a swivel and a hinge. That's fine. Diaphragm joint should be the same as the other guy. It does look like they tightened it up a bit. Like this one's... It looks like the same sculpt, but I can't say 100%. But this one seems a little... The new one seems a little bit less gappy. So let's see. It leans back okay. I think part of their problem is where they have the joints and the cuts for the joints. Yeah, it doesn't work that well. It doesn't go forward very far. It leans back all right. I'll take that. Side to side is acceptable. He's still slightly robotic looking. This V-shaped cut, this very angular cut, go with the, like, do it with the muscles. That works okay. It's fine. It's not great. The upside down ab crunch, ooh, that's not good. It does go back, but it scratches his inside of his torso, and it does go forward, so that's fine. What? That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, they really should have just done, like, moved the belt down a little bit. That's what you get for using an old joint. How was it on this guy? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just do that. That makes way more sense to have a little bit of belt missing in the back than to have a giant stretch of scratched paint coming up his ass. That's not good. So that's not great. And still, you're still limited. These need to be reversed, or at least remove this entirely, because once you bend him down, he can't lean to the side anymore. He can't, like, it's way limited in posing. If you flip those around, you get way better range. But that's okay for what it is. We still have the drop down hips on this guy, which certainly not ideal. Let's see how they work in their up position. Ugh. Legs kick out to the side pretty far when they go up. They do go up. If you bring them down, it feels like much less range. Yeah, way different range. So they look much more natural in the neutral position, but the hinge is even more useless. It's not as floppy as the other one, but the hinge is just about useless. The hinge never adds anything to the splits, and he's still not able to do splits. So that's very disappointing. His hips still suck. It is still loose on that side. The hinge ball pegs need to go. They don't add anything worthwhile. And if you just do it right, you can get all the range you want without them. So you don't have any of the hassle, and it would work better. But his hips do look much nicer than this turd. Look how wide his crotch gap is. This one's much better. See the difference? Alright. Okay, thigh swivel is a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee still works nicely. That's very good. You still get your boot swivel if you want it, and it's hidden well enough, so that is okay. Ankles go all the way back and all the way forward, and you get a really nice ankle rocker. Love that. And the pièce de résistance, which is French for the toe hinge, is here. We have a toe hinge, which I know a lot of people really, really want, and generally I advocate against them because they don't tend to work and they're not well executed. This one, they designed it exactly the way I've been recommending, not that they necessarily did it because of that, but the radius is the full thickness of the foot, so there's no weird gapping or crunching or lumping or anything down here. It's just a nice smooth curve. The toe is where it belongs. I love that. It's just too damn soft. It's very, there's no retention. So be aware of that. It's there, but expect some shelf dives because it's just super loose, super duper loose. So there's that. So ultimately, this figure is a drastic improvement over this figure, which is a pile of garbage. I will never not say that because it is. It's terrible, especially up against this new one. So much better. And I didn't even mention the fact that this guy's webbing isn't great and they're still doing some weird things with it, but it's not bad. It's way better than this one. I know it's a different style of webbing, but still, accuracy wise, in terms of placement on the figure, it's way better. It's still lacking. You can still see, we go in here, you can still see there's all kinds of misplacements and things like that, but it's better. So anyway, articulation wise on this guy, for Marvel Legends, I'm gonna go 8. It's still lacking. It still has problems that it shouldn't have. That neck is goofy. The hips can't go out to the side properly. They can't go forward properly. The toe hinge is loose. Butterfly's not great. This joint is okay. This joint is technically okay, but that combination just doesn't work as well. There's still problems, but it is still a solid release. So if you're okay shelling out $29 a figure for Hasbro Marvel Legends, which I'm assuming you are, you wouldn't be buying them, you wouldn't be watching this review, these are some of the better ones they've released lately. I can't just say every Marvel Legends figure is dog crap because the price is too high. There'd be no point in watching the reviews. That's true, the price is too high. In my estimation, they haven't released a single figure that's actually worth the price point since they hiked it up above $25. In fact, even at $25. But if you've already just accepted that and you're getting them anyway, this is a 2-pack you want to get. Especially for Spider-Man fans, it's probably Hasbro's best one. There's a lot of things improved. Still some work to do, but they're getting there. I'm going to give this 2-pack an overall rating of 8.5 out of 10. It's good. It is overall good, but there's still just too much wrong with it for me to go any higher, and that price point is a factor. Even if you've accepted it, you're still not getting your money's worth. So there it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.